Welcome back to the winning side on Ion Sports Network. I'm Liz Habib, along with legendary Rams quarterback Vince Ferragamo right next to me, and Rams Hall of Famer Jackie Slater. You know, I was thinking about this game, the Bucs and the Saints, right? Yeah. And there was that brawl in that game. Now, you two have been in a brawl or two.
How'd you know?
It was all his fault. It was all his fault.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
a brawl or two on the field where he threw a few punches. So what happens like the next day? So on Monday when you guys show up and you're in what happens after you had that big brawl? Because I'm thinking about Tom Brady and I'm thinking about these guys and what happens now in the locker room after a brawl like that. What's going on? What's Tom telling them?
Well, in the clubhouse, I'll tell you what. This is something that happens a lot. I mean, it happens in practice a lot, and there's a little bit of rambunctious stuff going on out there. But during a game, if there's a brawl like this, I mean, it's like who took the number, who got the best shot. You know, that's what all talk about.
Oh, so in other words, all you guys are talking about what punches you landed and how great it was and how you got him right. Let's clear that up. So Mike Evans is saying I got Lattimore, and
we do talk about that a little bit right after the game. Yeah. But the next day,
on the plane ride back,
the very next day, we asked one another, "Did you get fined yet?" Because everybody's going to get fined who was involved in the brawl.
All these fines are going to come down. But now, bring me back to the dynamic of a game, because a fight is not really. Now, the Bucs won this game 20-10, right? And it started with Tom Brady calling Lattimore names, right? Names that we can't use around here right now, but that we do use in our private homes or wherever else we are. But tell me about this.
Okay, let me tell you. Tampa Bay has lost to the Saints the last 6 times. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have a hard time beating the Saints. And they were in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. So they were out to set the story straight. And they came out, and nothing happened really great for the Bucs until that fight broke out. So it was almost as if, hey, there was some chatter going on back and forth. Brady may have instigated part of that stuff going on, but he was in front of it. And then somebody came to his rescue. Mike Evans came to his rescue.
Came bolting onto the field and just shoved Lattimore.
Now, they don't care. At some point, this is not in a particular play of itself. So you're not going to get penalized, okay, Liz? Right. So you didn't lose your cool. This is something totally separate, Jackie. This is like, hey, wait a minute, man. I'm going to take care of business here and get out of my face, all right? And so that's kind of basically what happened in this situation. Both of them got ejected. Yeah. But it turned the game around for the Bucs.
Okay, so
well, the way I looked at that, Vince, Tom, this guy must have said or done something that he didn't
exactly.
like. And so Tom, with his competitive spirit, he just immediately, went and contended with this guy.
Right.
Well, what happened was Mike Evans, like a typical offensive lineman, was in the vicinity, and he saw him get too close, and he took it on his own shoulders to go and then separate the guy. And that's when the real physical altercation came in.
Okay.
When Mike Evans went over to defend Tom Brady.
Right. Okay. But there's a different dynamic that happens. That team, the entire team, all the Bucs rally at that point behind Tom Brady. Evans runs onto the field, knowing that. He full on knows he's an experienced player. This is it.
You need to energize the team at some point, Liz. And if the quarterback feels that I need to energize my team somehow,
yeah, he's done it before.
He's done this before.
Tom Brady's done this before. This is a Tom Brady
tactic. And he wasn't going to back down. He was right after.
It's a Tom Brady
tactic.
No
doubt in my mind that he knew the reaction he was going to get from him, from Lattimore, and his buddies around him. Somebody was going to step in there.
Okay,
they weren't going to let him throw punches.
Here's what I know about you guys, Jackie, and I know you'll describe this. If something happened with Vince when you guys were playing out there, and I think you've even told me stories about something happened to Vince, and you guys all got fired up and you went at it just to protect your quarterback.
It's just an unwritten rule that's been in place for years. Mm-hmm. You don't let people mess around and toy with your quarterback. This is your trigger guy. He's the brains of the operation. He's telling you what to do every single time. Why would you stand there and let some buffoon go and be overly physical with this guy?
You get fired up.
You got another offensive tackle standing on the sideline and take my place when I get kicked out.
Right.
So I'm just not going to let this guy do anything to mess with our opportunity to win the game.
Did you ever do anything like that? Did you ever do anything like that? Did you ever go to Vince's rescue?
We had one incident, but it was his fault. It was his fault.
It was a brawl. We won that brawl.
We did win the brawl. We won the brawl.
Yeah, it was
what do you mean it was
But we lost the game, though.
Actually, what it was a dash play. You see, what the quarterback, Vince, was supposed to do is take the snap, and he was supposed to back up for 5 yards. And by that time, he should have sent the tight end in motion to pin the defensive end. And then after he hit 5 yards, I was supposed to, when that defensive end got pinned, I was supposed to roll out in the perimeter and be out there and
I had Preston
protecting him.
there and Drew Hill.
But that was the wrong personnel.
Wait,
You sent the wrong personnel.
Well, then what happened?
And then Vince was supposed to roll out behind me.
And?
Well, I did my job, and then I flipped my hips, getting ready to run, waiting on the guy to pick, and never did pick him. And then I turned.
All heck broke
I
loose.
turned Mark Gastineau loose on Vince. He hit him in the lips right there.
And that was the end of it.
And that was it. That was the end of it.
Everybody was swinging at everybody at
I
that
was
point.
mad at Vince. I was mad at Gastineau. I mean, it was just
It was a broken play for some reason. I don't know.
You
what
went
they
through
did.
your coach.
Well, the snap
First of
count
all,
was all off. Everything
You had
was
the
off.
wrong
All right.
personnel, Vince. You should
All
have known
right.
the wrong
Yeah,
personnel.
Guys,
was on there.
Tom Brady comes back. He's fighting with his wife. She doesn't want him to play. At least we think that's the rumor, right?
Okay.
So what's Tom Brady going to accomplish this year with the Bucs? Now we've seen 2 games. We saw a brawl in the second game. The penalties have come down. The la la la. Is Tom Brady going to take that team all the way to the Super Bowl?
You know what? If they're back in the Super Bowl, yes, she'll be there, and I'm sure she'll be loving it.
Is he going to get them there?
Happy life, happy wife. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, he's
Happy
got
wife, happy life.
Well, either way.
All right, but what do you think? Is Tom Brady
Well,
taking them all the way back?
first of all, I choose not to comment on any of the vicious rumors that are flying around. I don't want to hear any of that because this is what I know. I've been watching Tom Brady really close just about all of his career.
Right.
And this guy has done nothing but show up and be a professional and be better than most of the time better than his opponent at the brain spot on the field week in and week out. Tom Brady gives his team an opportunity to win ball games. So first of all, this is what I know. And I know that Tom Brady is consumed with the sport because there's nobody going to talk about we're going to play until they're 45 years old. I played until I was 41 and I was barely hanging on. So this guy's got a passion for the sport. He loves the sport, obviously loves teammates, but he has to love the way he impacts the game. This guy impacts the game probably more than any individual in any organization because he knows what the plays are. He can make the adjustments on the fly, and you can go and talk to the coach who's implementing the game plan just like he's talking to, another one of the guys.
Tom Brady.
He leads by example.
Did
He
you
leads
see
by
that commercial that ran during the game? How many times where he said to the kid, "What's his name?" The actor, and he goes, he's reading in his beautiful voice, and he's going, don't grow up to be the next Tom Brady. Grow up to be yourself." Do you know what commercial I'm talking about?
Yes, I know the one
Was
you're
that the
talking
greatest
about.
commercial?
Yeah, it
and
is
Tom
a-
Brady's in it in the end, and Tom Brady wrote the letter. I can't believe you guys don't know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
know what you're talking
that
about.
commercial stopped me in my
I
tracks
know
like
what you're
3
talking about,
times
but
today.
I think it's the craziest commercial in the world.
Why?
Because why would you tell a young man not to want to grow up to be the next Tom Brady?
Tom Brady said, "Don't grow up to be the next Tom. Don't
Yeah,
grow
I
up.
know.
Don't grow up to be the next Tom Brady." Let's talk about the 49ers and Seahawks. 27-7 today. The 49ers win. Your favorite quarterback, Trey Lance.
Trey Lance went down with an injury. Looking at the preseason, Liz, and watching him play, and under Kyle Shanahan's tutelage, it just didn't seem to be that he was all what he was hyped up to be. It just didn't seem to me, and so I don't know if he's played enough football or if they have a different plan for him. But he got hurt in the game, was carried off, unfortunately, and Jimmy Garoppolo just goes back in the
Jimmy
game.
G's back.
They've won with Jimmy. Jimmy's very comfortable with Kyle Shanahan's offense. They like to run the football. He likes to play action, likes to drop back. He gets good protection. They have a great team. The quarterback is the key. And now with Jimmy back in the lineup, Jackie, they can go places. They can get back to where they were. Are they going to be a great team? I don't know. If Jimmy can play at the top of his level, they have a chance.
27-7. He played today just fine to get them to where he's going. It's kind of like Jared Goff and the Rams, right? They had to trade off Jared Goff because while he was good, could get them to the Super Bowl. He certainly couldn't win that Super Bowl for him while he was there. They brought in Stafford. Stafford was able to win the Super Bowl. You know, so it's that extra thing. But Jimmy G's back. Is he? Jackie, can he get them there? Is this like rising from the dead? Like this is his opportunity? Trey Lance is hurt, like it or not. He's out for the season.
This is what I know. Jimmy G beat the Rams like 5 straight times.
Right, sure did.
And the Rams had Jalen Ramsey, they had Aaron Donald, and a host of other great players that are playing well for them now and last year. Jimmy G beat them 5 straight times, and the 49ers and Shanahan up there. To think that you could bring a young and talented guy that can run around, he can run around and he's fast and all that, and plug that into an NFL system and expect it to be as productive as a pocket quarterback like Vince was, like Tom Brady is, like Jimmy G is. That position, in my opinion, yeah, if you have some athleticism and you can bail yourself out of bad spots here and there, go for it. I'm all for that. I like them to get out of the way. But don't just be taking off just because you can take off either on your own desires or the coach calling too many plays for you to be running around with the football. Because in my opinion, the quarterback position doesn't have to deal with the physical rigors of the sport like running backs or even tight ends or big people getting hit, knocked around all the time. They don't have to deal with that. So their bodies aren't geared to take the punishment. And that's exactly what's happening. He broke his ankle today, inserting
trying to run the ball.
Inserting him into the line of scrimmage.
Right. Not everybody's Josh Allen. I mean, everybody wants a Josh Allen now or a Patrick Mahomes, right? But you're not. Just every quarterback can't be made. This is a rare talent, Josh Allen, right? Not every quarterback can be turned into this.
The guy weighs 240 pounds.
Right. And then,
6'5",
of course, Mahomes is just spectacular. So you're not going to get that.
No.
What can you do about that kind of thing? The 49ers, though, as they move forward in the season, you think they'll be better off. I know you think they'll. You have just not liked where they were without.
They definitely are going to be better off, Liz,
See,
because they can execute their offense with Jimmy. They don't expect the quarterback to run around like crazy. It's not.
So
great
have we seen the
offenses
last
don't
of Trey
expect the
Lance? I mean, I know we've seen the last of him this season because he's a broken ankle.
Ankle gets better.
But he gets back.
do you
But
think
this is what I know. You know, you have to win in the National Football League from the pocket. You have to win from the pocket.
Right.
Yeah, all of the guys are in the pocket. You can move them a little bit, but you have got to make great decisions from the pocket in order for your team to have an opportunity to be successful. And right now, Jimmy G gives this team the best. And I heard someone say, one of the commentators say today, of all the teams in the National Football League, the San Francisco 49ers are probably best suited to deal with an injury of this magnitude at this point in time of the season because of Jimmy G.
Yeah, I mean that was a no-brainer statement, right?
That's
like a no-brainer statement.
It was a no-brainer statement because Jimmy G.
Because Jimmy G was they didn't skip a beat. The guy knows all the plays. That's a no-brainer to say.
Yeah.
All right, let's stick with this part of the world and talk about the Cardinals and the Raiders. That was the overtime game on Sunday, right? That's the one overtime game, and it was crazy at the end, and you saw it.
And fumble, recovery, return for a touch, 65 yards for a touchdown to win the game
in overtime. So the Cardinals win that 29-23, right?
There was a play that Kyler Murray scrambled around for 28 seconds. Imagine
28 seconds.
It takes
What did it
3
look
seconds,
like?
2.2 seconds to throw the football. 28.
Like here,
he
there.
ran all over the place,
over the place.
and then he ran for a touchdown.
And he got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
just so quick.
You just can't defend against something like
Quick,
that. For
fast.
28 seconds, that means everybody missed him once or twice.
Yeah, but he can't. He's not going to win. Clearly, he should. Yeah, everybody missed him twice. Some 3 times.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be able to do that in every game.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able
No.
to win games overall in the NFL with that type of thing happening, right? And he hasn't yet. I mean, he's not proving to be the quarterback that can go to the Super Bowl and win.
Well,
I don't know if I agree with that.
The Raiders
You
are a
don't
good
agree with
team
that?
too,
I
Jackie.
don't know if I agree with that. I think this young man is special.
Mm-hmm.
He can beat you from the pocket, and he can beat you with his legs, just like on that 28-second play where he dodged a lot of people. I think he does have some liabilities, and one of the things that I noticed is when he's sitting in the heart of the pocket and the ball's coming out on 3 steps or something like that, if he can't see a guy clean, Vince, he won't throw it and he'll move around. And that's because he can't see over the guys. His height is a disadvantage. But otherwise, Kyler Murray, I think you can win with this guy. And I think he's going to win a lot of big games down the road.
But like you said, though, Jackie, to win it, to go to the farthest you can, the Super Bowl, you got to throw from the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And if teams can defend him and keep him in the pocket, he has a hard time when they could come closer to him because of his size limitation. So he's got to be able to be on the move at some point. He can throw quick. He's a very accurate thrower. He can throw the football. He can run it. But then again, that's the shortfall of Kyler Murray. And can you go all the way in the playoffs? The Rams got his number. I mean, the Rams.
Well, the Rams are playing him next week. So what you saw this week, what you saw of the Rams this week and where they were, how you think they're going to stack up against the Cardinals next week?
They have the same coaching staff for the Rams. And the Cardinals have the same coaching staff they had last year. I see it's much the same as they were in the playoffs. If they can run the football, they don't have Edmonds, though. They don't have some of their great runners that they can run 200 yards against the Rams. If they do, then they take the pressure off Kyler Murray.
If they don't come out and run the football, attempt to run the football consistently against the Rams, they won't win the game. They won't have much of a chance. But if they take those offensive linemen and let them pound and beat up the heart of that Rams front, get after him, Ashawn, even big Ashawn in there. He's a load. He had a good game today.
Yeah.
Getting after him and Greg Gaines. Greg Gaines. If they get after these guys to run again, a lot of combination on those defensive tackles inside, whoever, regardless of who their back is, now they got a chance to win the game. Otherwise, no chance at all.
You know, the Bills are they're up there in Buffalo, they're letting the kids out of school early, so they all can get home for Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Which, you know what, that's so old school. I was thinking about it a little bit. It's so old school, that community involvement with the team, to let the town out early. So but look at that kind of backing they're putting behind Josh Allen and that team, guys.
I mean,
I'm not so sure. Supporting the
I'm not so sure if I were a parent that I would be
at 12 o'clock.
What in the
Unless
world?
they're going to give them a free ticket to go to the game.
Absolutely.
I take it that might be a little bit better.
Everyone's going to get out and have pizza parties.
Well,
they should do that.
To go to the game.
Should out and have pizza parties here in Los Angeles. Imagine just like, hey, we're going to let all the kids out early. Paisanos is giving everybody pizza, right? And everything's going to just, something like that, and sponsor. I just think that's the most amazing thing. All right, let's switch off to some college ball. Let's talk a little bit about USC, because I just knew, I'm going to say it over and over again, Lincoln Riley is going to come out and pound every single team he plays. And he is going to put that quarterback who's already in the Heisman talk.
Caleb?
Yeah, you like him.
Caleb.
You guys like him.
I watched the game. I watched some of the game, and what I saw, the 3 sacks that he took. He took 3 sacks. But the guy could have been sacked another 4 or 5 times, Vince. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't see much of it.
He could have been sacked another 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So Riley had to have known. He knows this guy. This guy right here, when he brought this guy to USC, he solved a couple of problems, not even knowing if he had the problem. Number one problem was he had some familiarity with his quarterback. He solved that problem right away. The number 2 problem is not knowing the offensive line that he had in place. He knew that he had a guy that could avoid pass rushers. This guy gets out of the way. It's simple as that. He's a very mobile guy. And as I said, I saw 3 sacks, and I saw what could have been 2 or 3 or 4 more, and he made the difference. He's a difference maker, Vince.
Jackie, he has a really good grasp of the offense, as you mentioned. He's very familiar with Lincoln Riley's offense, and he can operate very well. You know what? 0 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, almost 300 yards passing. Liz, I mean, this guy, but he's more in control. And you can see it. The players adapt to a quarterback like that, and he's got something to really give. And I'm telling you what, you can go a long way with a quarterback like that at any level.
Absolutely.
No. Fresno State, 45-17. They crushed Fresno State. UCLA barely got out of it with South Alabama this week.
They had to come from behind to win.
I think everyone expects UCLA to be something that they aren't. I think that they think, I don't know what exactly, now that they're going to be part of the
Well, you talk about a physical game,
Big Ten.
Jackie. There was a lot of hitting and shoving going on in that game down there, because South Alabama was out to try to stop UCLA. And they had pretty much the game in control. Late in the game, UCLA had to come back. But they really picked up the slack and
they came back.
The game.
They finished the game. They won it by 1, 32-31. So now they're 2-0 as well. The Aztecs, San Diego. The Aztecs. This was a tough one. Come on, let's face it. It's Utah. They're up against Utah, and Kyle Whittingham always has a good team.
You know, Kyle Whittingham's father, Fred, was a coach with Coach Vince and I. And that kid, I can remember him standing there staring and listening when he was just a little bitty tot.
He's sharp.
And he has been the head coach over at Utah now for 18 years, and he is never to be toyed with. This guy has won more games when people thought he was going to lose, and didn't lose games that he thought he is really a good coach, and his team was thoroughly prepared for this team for the Aztec down there. And, Snapdragon Stadium, I mean, they had to have had a good time. But it was a little bit
35-7. But look, they have Toledo next week.
Stadium, Vince. Look.
Yeah.
You see, they passing out the Snapdragon. Snapdragon Stadium.
Is that like a red Solo cup, but it's a silver Snapdragon cup? Is that thing of plastic? That's a cool looking cup. That's a good looking cup. I like it.
It holds the water cold for a long time too.
Yeah, it's good. So Toledo, there could be some redemption coming up
next week. Yeah, they're going to look forward. Again, as we mentioned, what the Rams did in their first game, they came back. Second game, you have to bounce back.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe that's where they go with that. So they can look forward. And again, there's plenty of season left for them to come back and do what we need. All right. Anything else standing out for you guys this week when you look back at the NFL? Some game, something, anything you guys like? All right, let's head into next week with the Rams. How do you think they're going to end up doing against the Cardinals? You think they'll be 2-1 by the end of next week?
I definitely do.
I think they'll beat them.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that will make that game close is if the Cardinals come out and run the football a lot more. You know, you asked me one thing that I have noticed, Liz, and I say this a lot to a lot of different people. I really have problems. We have a friend that was going to be on the show with us here tonight, Brett Therinez, who has some very serious issues going on. Maybe CTE. I'm not sure if he's been diagnosed with it and everything. So he represents a generation of people that have had to deal with this problem. And so I can understand the National Football League using these spongy,
we talked about those helmets. They're kind of funny looking. Yeah, there's Guardian helmets, they call them.
Shock absorbing kind of a helmet that they put in place now to prevent people from getting all of these concussions that we used to get. And hopefully they won't get the CTE and have their lives cut short. But I have a problem with, you know, them taking away the violence of the game in practice and in the preseason, because if you do that, you are taking away from the quality of the performance that you're going to be getting from the people who must be violent, who must be physical.
But Jackie, I mean, it's such a.
There's going to be less injuries.
Look at right. It's such a.
Let me put it to you this way. I can't put it any clearer than this. There's no way I would have played 20 years of pro football if I had been practicing the way these guys are practicing now. Because I was the type of guy that had to work and had to sharpen my skills.
You know, it's such an amazing and yet crazy thing that you say. 20 years you played, you're a Hall of Famer, and you've gone through this, Jackie, and you had a ton of injuries. And you worked hard, right, and concussions. And here you sit today, and you're always concerned about it. I know you too. You're always concerned about whether you have CT or not. But you got through it, and you think the practice and the conditioning mattered a lot. And maybe what you're saying right now is it mattered more than any cushiony helmet. The practice and the conditioning, I don't know. That's the thing, is there's evidence we know there's CTE. We know that there are players who suffer, Jackie, and yet you're saying they have to play harder. They have to play harder.
I'm just saying there are certain positions, if you want the quality of your team to be at its very peak, when you start competing on day one of a regular season, those guys have to have had.
But Jackie,
they have to have been thrown in the fire.
We see a lot more injuries today, too, as a result of them not practicing hard enough.
I know, you guys go back to that all the time, that you think the lack of practice.
Your body has to get used to dealing with the rigors of the sport.
I don't know if what you're saying is old school. I don't know if the science supports it. I know you guys feel that way. I'm not sure. But I think anything that helps with safety matters. I think anything that helps with safety. Yeah. I can't see it any other way, right?
Well, I mean, you know what?
Coaching my grandson in flag football, let the kids play flag football. It's pretty good.
How's his arm?
Decent. Pretty decent.
You really? Yeah, how's he doing now? Can he do it?
He throws it. He throws
Is he
it
like his grandfather?
He'll throw an interception every now and then. I said, keep playing, buddy, keep playing. Let's go.
He's 5, or is he 6? I mean,
he's 8.
Oh, he's 8 already. What am I talking about? My gosh, that happened so fast. All right, guys, that's it. That wraps up. That's our time this week for the winning side. Thanks to everybody out there who sponsors us, who supports us. Next week, we got a little Your Wine. We'll bring in a little pizza. We'll eat some dates, and we'll have a good time and have a little party.
Good Ferragamo wine.
All right,
let's go down there.
Let's hope we got
Felipe's in San Diego.
Yeah, let's hope we got some good games to talk about. I know we're going to have some good games to talk about next week. All right, join us then.